We are back. So finally, I'm going to talk about a movie in honor of my favorite Dutch actor, Rutger Hauer, which he passed away 2 years ago. Finally, I can talk about one of my favorite actors ever to do in honor of Rutger Hauer, and of course my fourth favorite movie that he did, and one of my personal favorite movies, and of course that I'm talking about is Blade Runner. Came out 1982, was released in the US in movie theaters on June 25th, which was anniversary. Almost, I think, will be 40th anniversary, almost 40th anniversary. Almost 40th anniversary. Next year it's gonna be 40th anniversary since this movie hit. But this is actually the final cut, the 25th anniversary, which is remastered version. I should say call version. It's the remastered, the only version. Ridley Scott retained artistic control. It's the only version, and yeah, this is actually my favorite Blade Runner, and it's a classic. And of course, Blade Runner is actually a science fiction, futuristic, dystopian, neo-noir thriller, and I'll say it's a classic and it's the best one. Yes, there was a sequel called Blade Runner 2049. I think was directed by Denis Villeneuve, something like that. Came out 2017. And you know what? Fuck the sequel. Yeah, I said it. Fuck the sequel. As for Blade Runner, this is my favorite movie. It's a classic and it's the best one of the two. But I know there's a lot of haters about this film, because people are saying that it's flawed film. It's slow paced. It's lacks on action and blah. To me, slow pace is the sequel. I think the sequel is overhyped, overrated. Yeah, it is overhyped, overrated. And this movie used to have 8.3 on IMDb, but because of haters, it got now 8.1. But the sequel gets all the praise. The sequel is better. I saw the sequel in movie theater November 23rd. And I think it was around 9 o'clock I saw the film. After 1 hour around I fall asleep, and when I woke up already the movie was over. I only saw once that film on Blu-ray since 3 years. I bought it in 2018. I bought it the Blu-ray, but I have not seen the film since 3 years because I don't care. I don't care about the sequel. I think the sequel is overhyped, overrated. It's 3 hours, way too long. This movie, in my opinion, is fast-paced, goes quickly around, and it still has action. And the special effects are fantastic. The special effects are great. They're fantastic. Douglas Trumbull, he did the special effects, which was fantastic. The makeup, the effects are not dated. Whoever claims they're dated is a moron, because they're not dated. They're great. The special effects, the visual effects are fantastic. For $28 million, the movie cost $28 million budget. It still works. It's a fantastic. To me, Rutger Hauer steals the movie. It steals the show. So it's my fourth favorite film. Yes, it's true. Ridley Scott's best film is actually Alien, but it's not my favorite Ridley Scott film. It is one of my favorite Ridley Scott film, but it's not number one. My number one favorite Ridley Scott film will be actually Blade Runner. Yeah, because it used to be Black Rain, but it's been replaced by Blade Runner because I enjoyed it. I watched this film yesterday and I enjoyed it. This is actually the real final cut, a futuristic vision perfected. Man has made his match, now it's his problem, so this is the final cut. There are actually 3 cuts. Director's cut, never seen director's cut, I don't know what director's cut is, and theatrical cut, and of course the final cut, which is actually, which Ridley Scott actually holds the control over the film. It's his version. It's all the deleted scenes are actually in this film. the theatrical cut has like a lot of deleted scenes, like when Rutger Hauer grabs that nail and he goes and bores the nail through the hand. That scene is deleted. Joanne Cassidy as Zora Salome. You see her breasts, her tits. We can see in this cut, we see tits, and that's deleted. The line in which Emmett Walsh, or was it Welsh? Emmett Walsh, as Brian says, "Don't be an asshole, Deckard." That line is completely deleted and removed with some other line. When Deckard goes and shoots Pris, in theatrical cut he shoots her once. In this cut he shoots her 3 times. When Pris grabs his legs around Deckard's neck, that scene is deleted. When she uses her 2 fingers in his nostrils, in Deckard's nostrils, that scene is deleted. Those scenes are cut. The death of Tyrell, of the CEO, Tyrell, Eldon Tyrell, in which Roy Beatty goes and squeezes his eyes to see all the blood. That scene is deleted. I think those scenes are completely deleted in theatrical cut. But this final cut, those scenes are in it. So that's one of the reasons why it's my favorite too. I think the sequel, this is a classic, the only one, the original, the best one. It's fast-paced, 1 hour, 57 minutes long. That movie is almost 3 hours long. It's boring. To me, it's boring. I fall asleep. It's overhyped. It's overrated. It doesn't deserve such a great. I don't think that people should go and say, "Oh, it's better than this film." It's not better than this film. It's not. This movie is not 3 hours long. I can understand the story. I can understand the sequel story. What the fuck is the story in the sequel? This movie is better. Harrison Ford was perfect as Deckard Blade Runner. He was perfect. And the final cut, has all the scenes in the film. So I really recommend this film. You can't get wrong with this film. It's a classic. It's my favorite of the 2. And it's actually my 4th favorite Rutger Hauer film. And Rutger Hauer steals this film. He steals this film and he's the best in this film, in my opinion. And if I say my 4th favorite Harrison Ford film, for Harrison Ford, I'll actually say Indiana Jones. The first 3 movies are actually my favorite. Then this film. I will also say my 4th favorite was also Harrison Ford film. But for Ridley Scott, this will be my favorite. My 2nd favorite will actually be Black Rain. And my 3rd favorite will be Alien. And Alien still holds 8.5 on IMDb. But this movie, because of the haters, he got 8.1. Oh, it lacks the action. Oh, it's flawless. What the fuck is flawless? There's no flawless in this movie. Oh, it lacks on action. Rutger Hauer is the best of the film. So whatever. You have my opinion, you have yours opinion. I think Blade Runner is a classic. I think the final cut by Ridley Scott is the best. I think that it's a masterpiece. I think that this movie should be more talk about it. I think that the people should say it's my favorite Ridley Scott movie that did, not Alien. I have nothing against Alien. It's a good movie, but this is better. I will say this is better. The visual effects, for the ship, it's in the future. It's kind of awkward and weird because this movie is set in the dystopian futuristic world in 2019 November, but Rutger Hauer dies July 19, 2019, which is really awkward in my opinion. And really, was it a destiny? That shouldn't be. But Rutger Hauer steals the film. The character that he played, Roy Beatty, he's the best of the best. He, in my opinion, he overspass and steals the spotlight of Harrison Ford. Because I think that Rutger Hauer is the best. He's not that much in the film, but he's the best, in my opinion. So Blade Runner, which was released on June 25th in US, in movie theaters. It's based on Philip K. Dick's story, which he did for Total Recall, for Paycheck, which I reviewed. Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep is actually, I think it's a novel. But the movie is like set in dystopian future Los Angeles 2019. And also dystopian future 2019 set in The Running Man too. It's also set in The Running Man. But it's actually set in 2019. The special effects are fantastic. It was awesome. And the movie is not dated. The effects are not dated. They're great for the ship, for the corporation. The story works. The actors, Harrison Ford, Rutger Hauer. I'll just show you. Rutger Hauer is the best. He's the best. That's Harrison Ford, Edward James Olmos. Sean Young, and Harrison Ford. But in my opinion, as Rutger Hauer's Liability steals the show, he's the best. He's the best of the film. The budget, like I said, is actually $28 million, but worldwide was $41 million. The music score was by Vangelis. I think Vangelis or Vangelis. Vangelis did a great music score. I enjoyed their music score. The best one, in my opinion, was definitely Rutger Hauer. Extraordinary, I agree with that. Not a case of Blade Runner Redux, but Blade Runner Deluxe Empire, I agree with that. Special effects, dangerous days making Blade Runner, outtakes, deleted scenes, all new interviews, extra rare vintage and new material. 1 hour 57 minutes long. But Blade Runner is a fantastic film. It's a phenomenal film. I really love this movie to death. Yes, I did not say it, but I love this movie to death. It's a phenomenal film. You can't get wrong with this film. Rutger Hauer steals the movie. Still, in my opinion, the movie, like I said, the movie set in November, Los Angeles 2019, in the futuristic world, because this is neo-noir. Futuristic film, and it's a thriller. It's like I said, it's a classic. It's the best of the two, in my opinion, my favorite of the two. And talks about the dystopian future. Just like in RoboCop, dystopian future talks about synthetic humans known as replicants. Robots as replicants who are bioengineered by powerful Tyrell Corporation. To work at space colonies, and when those replicants, they're welcome on men because they're forbidden. They're actually called Nexus 6. Replicants made by Tyrell Corporation, a powerful corporation, and they've been actually made by them. And in this space colony, those replicants are not allowed to walk on Earth among humans, among us. For that, they've been called Blade Runners, which Rick Deckard, played by Harrison Ford, just show him, played by Harrison Ford. He's a burnout cop, and he's called Blade Runner, in which he's actually has to chase replicants and kills them, and that's actually not called execution, it's actually called retirement. And in the space colony, 4 replicants by Nexus 6, one of them is Leon Kowalski, Brion James, Protangon Cash, and 48 Hours, another 48 Hours, rest in peace. He's Leon Kowalski. He kills the shrink, while being questioned, and he escapes. He and the other 3 replicants, which are 2 men and 2 women. One of them is Rutger Hauer, who plays Roy Batty. He's Batty or Roy Batty. He's actually the leader. He escapes. Leon Kowalski, I mentioned it, and 2 women. Daryl Hannah plays Priest, and of course Joanna Cassidy. She plays Zora Salome. She plays Zora Salome. There are actually four replicants who escape with a ship they hijack a ship, they killed pilots, and I think they killed 24 passengers until they landed in the planet, you know, on our planet. So now police, so now superintendent, I'm just gonna call him Superintendent Chief Brian, played by Emmett Walsh, calls burnout cop Rick Deckard and on assignment to ask him to go and goes and catches those 4 replicants who are among us, because they hijack the ship, they killed humans, they killed 24 passengers, mercenary, cold-blooded. They killed them, you know. They killed at least people, and they're gonna continue people. In the meantime, Ray Betty, Priest, and Kowalski are actually looking for those people who create them, for Tyrell, in which they wants to live. They only, they actually, I think they live only 4 years until they died already. 2 years, because they were born 2017. They're actually synthetic mans, you know, and they find out through James Hong, is this movie from Big Trouble in Little China. They actually find out that they actually find out that this guy J.F. Sebastian, I think he's gifted genetic designer who works with Tyrell. You know, he's the answer to find out how to stop their aging. And they actually point, you know, meantime Deckard, he accepts the mission and the assignment. He goes after them to find them, to start hunting down. The first that he hunts down is also Zora Salome, when she's exotic dancer. By the way, when you see Harrison Ford watching those snakes, you know, and when he goes like some journalist, you know, disguised undercover, he asks her if the, you know, when you see Salome with the snake, he asks her, is the snake fake? She says no. He asks her if the snake is real. She says no, of course not. But actually it was a real snake. You know, it was a real snake. Joanne Cassidy, when she was dancing with a snake, was a real snake. It wasn't a toy, or it wasn't a model or puppeteer. It was a real snake, because it was her pet, and that was done for real. It was for real. And like I said, the first one that he also the Deckard tracks down is Zora Salome. But first he goes to Tyrell Corporation, in which he meets young lady assistant Rachel by Tyrell Corporation, and that's Sean Young, and she doesn't know she was replicant, you know, created by Tyrell Corporation. She did not know. And when he found out more, you know, when he was actually, you know, he was really, this movie is really brilliant. I mean, Deckard is brilliant. He tries to find out more about how to track down Zora, you know, how to track her down. He tries to find out more, and he goes, you know, by piece, finds out how where she's dancing, where she is, you know, where the girl is. He tries to find out more, and that's what Deckard does, you know. Great music score, once again, by Vangelis, great music score. And I love the snakes, you know, you see those pythons, you know, or Salome is dancing. I love that scene. And we see her boobs, you know, her tits, and she puts like those boots on it with her leg, and she finds out that he's a playdown, and she goes and kicks his ass, and she escapes. And I really like that scene, you know, when Harrison Ford goes and shoots her, you know, he goes with this gun, goes and shoots her, you know. I love that scene. He goes and kills her, you know, and she falls down the glass. I love the glass. That glass was for real. There's also a scene, you know, and he goes, you know, he says, it's okay, I'm a Blade Runner, you know, and I love that scene. And there's also the scene in which Priest, played by Daryl Hannah, she actually meets this J.F. Sebastian. She meets him, and actually when Daryl Hannah, you know, she really hurt her elbow when she smashed the window glass, you know, in his car. You know, the glass wasn't breakaway glass, it was a real glass, and she still has the scar from the accident. You know, that scene when she meets that J.F. Sebastian, she runs away from him, skidding into his car, and she smashes the window with her elbow. That was done for real. It was a real glass. Wasn't a breakable glass. It was for real, and she was still wearing that scar that she really hurt her elbow. That was for real. It was done for real. It wasn't a joke. It was done for real. So that's one of the reasons I don't think those effects are actually dated. The visual effects are great. Definitely my top 10 favorite sci-fi films. And J.F. Sebastian goes and brings her to her home until later, Right Betty shows up and I love the makeup for Pris, by Daryl Hannah. I love the makeup by Daryl Hannah. Love the makeup, she goes and puts all she goes and makes she's all white and this black, she goes and sprays her black eyes, I love that scene. Or when she goes, when she actually goes and she makes a flip side, she grabs some balls, from boiled water and throws to J.F. Sebastian. And she goes and she's using J.F. Sebastian so that he will help, that they will live longer, that they won't die, right away. And when J.F. Sebastian can't do, they actually need, they actually have to go to Tyrell Corporation, and they actually need the CEO head of the corporation, Eldon Tyrell, who's the CEO and the owner of the company who built them, so he goes and uses J.F. Sebastian by chess, by chess, and he makes J.F. Sebastian that he goes and calls, calls Tyrell Corporation, and he convinces him, so that Tyrell picks up the phone and he goes, they actually both go with the elevator. I love the elevator scene in the corporation. And when actually Ryan Beatty finds out that there's no cure, there's no cure for him, he goes and kisses Tyrell, then he goes and squeezes his eyes, that scene is deleted in the theatrical cut. He goes and squeezes his eyes, which I love that, love that scene. It's actually bloody, this final cut has that scene, it's bloody. Meantime, Leon, Kowalski sees the death of his friend, Zora, he sees that, and he goes and he starts smashing around and pushing around Deckard and asking how long do I live, born 2017, and I love when Harrison Ford says, I don't know, maybe 4, he goes, kicks his ass, and Salome, not Salome, Rachel, she goes, grabs the gun and shoots Kowalski right in the head, in the forehead. She goes, she shoots him and saves Deckard's life, and I love when Deckard, he, by the way, his name's Rick Deckard, just like my dog Rick. Anyway, he goes, he invites her on a drink, or he's like in this in this nightclub and calls her, I love that scene. There's also romantic scene, which it has romance. This film has romance between Rachel and Deckard. I love that. Also, like I said, I forgot to mention, but Edward James Olmos from Miami Vice in this movie, he plays Officer Gaff, he plays Officer Gaff. He and Harrison Ford reprise the roles in the sequel, Blade Runner 2049. But Deckard finally finds the hideout, because they actually find out that James Sebastian's been murdered and Eldon Tyrell. So he goes and calls to Sebastian home, and some girl picks up, and hands up, and that's the next clue. So Rick Deckard goes to J.S. Sebastian home. he goes to that facility. He finds all the toys, you see all the toys. The puppeteers are great. All the toys, and like freestands. And she starts kicking. Deckard, and goes and punches him out. And like I said, that scene in which she grabs the legs around Deckard's neck, that scene is deleted. It's completely deleted. Or she grabs for the nostrils, shows him, his fingers to the nostrils and shows him. That scene is deleted. And like I said, Harrison Ford grabs the gun and he shoots her. Bang! She tries to use that acrobat stances again, but he goes and shoots her, and he goes and shoots her at least 3 times. This final cut goes, shoots her 3 times and kills her, And I really like that scene. Then when Roy Batty finds her, he goes now. So now I'm gonna give you a start. By 10 seconds. Then I'm coming. He goes and starts hunting down Harrison Ford. He goes and hunts down Rick Deckard. He goes and hunts them down in the empty building. Harrison Ford goes actually in the bathroom, but Roy Batty goes and finds him. And he tries to he breaks the wall and grabs his gun, and he goes and breaks 2 fingers, and says that's for Pris and for Zod, and breaks his 2 fingers and gives him back the gun. And Harrison Ford goes and hides himself, he also uses a stick and fights Roy Batty, and he goes and strains his fingers and cuts, and there's also when Harrison Ford goes on the roof and there's actually a rain scene, which I love that rain scene, and Rutger Hauer goes and hunts them down. He also then Deckard, he holds himself, almost falls down the roof, but I love when he actually, he's weak, he tries to falls down, but Roy Batty goes, grabs him for the hand, and pulls him up. And I love such a beautiful speech by Rutger Hauer, which I read that, "I seen things you people wouldn't believe. Attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion. I've watched sea beams glitter in the dark near the Tannhauser Gate. All those moments will be lost in time, like tears in rain." And then says, "Time to die." It's really sad that he dies, but Rutger Hauer is the best of the film. And like I said, the film then ends, because he saves Deckard life. He's a great character. He saves Deckard life, and of course, Gav says, "Well done." He says, "Well done. Too bad you won't believe." So Deckard goes, back to his apartment. He finds Rachel, and he goes with the gun and he saves her, and they both escape. They actually both escape. He finds that crane that Gav made, so he spared her, because Bryant ordered previously that they're actually not 3, they're actually 4, because the girl is a replicant. She escaped, and while questioning her, they found out she's a replicant made by Tyrell Corporation. But they escape, and I love the music song on the end, the credits by Vangelis. Really good music score. Yeah, like I said, not Harrison Ford, Rutger Hauer, fantastic. He's awesome. The most ideas for the character came from Rutger Hauer. But the final third act, in which Roy Batty is hunting down Deckard, the director and I think the studio and the director, they wanted that Roy Batty and of course Deckard are actually fighting each other by demonstrating martial arts. But Rutger Hauer was against that idea, and he said, no need to use Bruce Lee, stunt, no need for the Bruce Lee martial arts techniques. And he also said that in his biography that he also doesn't know any martial arts, so he was against the idea. So they actually made in which Roy Batty goes and hunts down Deckard, which I love that scene. Like I said, he breaks his 2 fingers. He in the bathroom, he breaks he goes and smashes he, I think he climbs, and he smashes the wall. Harrison Ford climbs on the roof, which I love that scene. I kind of forgot the rest, but yeah, they ended in which Roy Beatty hands down Deckard. They wanted a martial arts demonstration, but Rutger Hauer was against it. The most ideas came from Rutger Hauer. He claims that for the character Roy Beatty came from him. But Rutger Hauer was perfect as cast as Roy Beatty, Nexus 6, replicant, bioengineering, synthetic man. He was awesome. And also, my favorite scene would be actually the fight scene between Deckard and Priest, played by Daryl Hannah. Like I said, she goes and she throws him, just like Ursa in Superman 2. He goes and throws him. She goes and kicks him. And I love when Deckard grabs the gun and goes and shoots her. He goes and shoots her 3 times. That's in the final cut. And that theatrical cut goes and shoots her. I love that scene. That's my favorite scene in the film. The actor performance, the special visual effects are awesome. For Priest, for the elevators, for the ships. The futuristic world is great. It's great design. It's fantastic. Douglas Trumbull, he did a fantastic special effects. Ridley Scott perfectly directed. This is my favorite Ridley Scott film. It's my favorite Ridley Scott film. It's actually my 4th favorite Rutger Hauer film. Budget was only $28 million, and I don't think there's actually dated. I don't think that movie is dated or effects are dated. It has fast paced, in my opinion. It's not 3 hours long. It's I understand the story. Harrison Ford is a burnout cop. He's a Blade Runner. The story is about him. He's a Blade Runner, and I got it. I got it more than the sequel. And also, this is a remastered version, so I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I don't remember then that much about the facts, but the effects, the puppeteers in J.F. Sebastian's home is awesome. How they filmed by dark, in the dark alleys was awesome. The story, which was based on Do Android's Dream of Electric Sheep, was awesome by Philip K. Dick. And like I said, they don't make movies like this anymore. It's my top 10 favorite sci-fi films. But they don't make them like this anymore. And Harrison Ford was perfect in this movie. The cast, beside Harrison Ford, Rutger Hauer, we also do have Joanna Cassidy, Brion James, Daryl Hannah, William Sanderson, Joe Turkel, Mehmet Walsh, Edward James Olmos, and of course Sean Young. But yeah, Daryl Hannah was perfect when she makes a flip side, as Priest, when she has like dyed blonde hair. The effects, the makeup for her was awesome, was a great design. Ridley Scott did a perfect direction in this film. It was awesome. I really love this movie to death. Harrison Ford as Rick Deckard, burnout cop, now Blade Runner. His job is to track down replicants, was awesome. Harrison Ford reprised the role as Rick Deckard in Blade Runner 2049. And also Officer Gaff returns as Edward James Olmos, also reprises the role in the sequel. But like I said, it's a neo-noir thriller, visually spectacular. It has intensely action-packed, powerful properties since its debut. And this is also returns to Ridley Scott's final cut. It's a neo-noir futuristic thriller, and came out 1982, which is actually really awkward, almost 40th anniversary, but came out 1982, and Rutger Hauer was fantastic. He's awesome. Like I said, this review is dedicated to Rutger Hauer and only Rutger Hauer. He was awesome. Harrison Ford was perfect. He fits perfect as Rick Deckard. Also when Kowalski goes and kicks his ass, you can see all blood. It has also, this movie has blood when he washes. But I really do recommend you to see the final cut of Blade Runner. If you didn't see it, you can't get wrong. It's a really good movie. I love the futuristic world. I love the performance by Rutger Hauer. I love when he's actually on the roof and says his lines, and then he dies, and he saves Deckard's life. I love that, where he grabs a nail and goes and he goes and stabs himself through the hand. I love that scene. I've seen things that people wouldn't believe. Attack ships on fire, the shoulder of Orion. I've watched sea beams glitter in the dark near the Tannhauser gate. All those moments will be lost in time, like tears in rain. Time to die. And just love the beautiful scenes, the beautiful lines. But the best one, in my opinion, is definitely the scene when Deckard gets attacked by Pris and he goes to Shuska 3 times. Love that scene. I love that scene. Excuse me, the effects, it's rated R. This movie is rated R. Harrison Ford perfectly delivered. But to me, Ray Beatty, he steals Rutger Hauer steals the movie. He was perfect, he was the best. Sean Yanas, Rachel did a good job. She did a great job. But yeah, Harrison Ford was fantastic. The idea, the stories, Ridley Scott was really bad at the time, better than his Alien Convenient. He was great director at the time. The cast was awesome. Excuse me, the cast was awesome. The story, the futuristic world, the visual effects for the ships, for the synthetic man, was awesome. It was just awesome. This movie was perfect. It was awesome. It's hardly believed, but came out the same year as this movie. First Blood came out the same year as First Blood, 1982, which is kind of really awkward but weird. But Blade Runner, I really enjoyed this film. I really had fun yesterday. And I don't know why is this movie, what is so lackluster? What's so lackluster? What is about this film that's actually flawless? What's about this movie? Oh, it lacks on action. Also, the sequel has better action. The sequel is overrated, overhyped. And it's not that good as the first one because it's actually very slow and boring. I fall asleep in movie theater until I woke up when it was the end of the movie, And I'm not gonna review the sequel because this is actually reviews are only for Rutger Hauer. And only Rutger Hauer. And like I said, this is my review on Blade Runner. The Sunday Times give a 5, so I agree with that. I apologize that I'm actually sleepy. But yeah, I really enjoy this film. I really do enjoy this film. Ridley Scott did a fantastic job directing this film. Rutger Hauer steals the movie. Excuse me, I'll be right back. I apologize. I only washed my face so that I won't fall asleep, because you saw I already was fall asleep, because I'm still working. But next week I'm gonna have more time for the movies, for reviewing the movies than this week. But yeah, the space colonies, the ship, the open scene with the Shrek-esque Kowalski questions. I really love that, love the vision, the futuristic world, the effects. I don't know what else to say. When Kowalski grabs the gun, shoots the train. I love that scene. I really love this film, or when you see when Deckard eats noodles, the Chinese, and the the Chinaman says, says that you're under arrest, Deckard says, tell him I'm eating. But Harrison Ford, fantastic. The music score by Vangelis, fantastic. The vision, this cat is fantastic. Rutger Hauer, badass. Love the guy to death. I really miss him, so I did this review in honor of Rutger Hauer. I hope Rutger Hauer watches from his grave, from above, but definitely I'm trying my best to give a positive, best review in memory of Rutger Hauer, because he's my favorite Dutch actor. I really, really miss the legend, the myth, the legend, the best actor. I miss him so much, and Blade Runner is one of my favorite movies that he did. I know that Harrison Ford has a star, but to me, Rutger Hauer still surpasses Harrison Ford, and he steals the movie from him, he steals the show. Even though he's not that much in the film, because Harrison Ford is the star, Rutger Hauer is the best, in my opinion. And I love the design, I love his hair, and most of the ideas, like I said, most ideas came from Rutger Hauer. And also Joanne Cassidy, there's a real snake, so that's her real pet when she was dancing with a snake. That was her real pet. It wasn't a puppet or a fake, it was a real or mechanical snake, it was a real snake. And like I said, she goes and smashes the window in his car when she meets James Sebastian, that she really did hurt herself, and like they both using him, or Leon Kowalski goes and kicks Deckard's ass, and Rachel goes and shoots him in the forehead, that scene. I love that scene. And I don't see any lack in the action. I don't see it's flawless. I have no problems with this film. It's a masterpiece, a classic film. And I think that people should have talked about this film more. They should have talked about this film more. A Futuristic Vision Perfect, it's a remastered version. Man has made his match, now it's his problem. I love the Dark Knight scene, the action sequence, or Blade Runner goes and hunts down Zora, and then he goes shoots her. Love that scene. But to me, Rutger Hauer, even as a bad guy, even as a villain, he's actually great. He did a great acting performance. He goes and grabs her leg and goes and squeezes him, goes first kisses him, and then goes squeeze him. See all the blood. St. J. Sebastian's watching, then he turns around. I love that scene. I don't know. It's Ridley Scott did a great job directing this film. The screenplay worked by Hampton Fancher and David Peppers. I saw as a kid, I saw this film only bits and pieces. I barely remember, only saw bits and pieces, never saw whole film. But yeah, it was really a great to see this film and view that, which I do have the Blu-ray. So I really did enjoy this film. The bag is a fantastic. Anyway, that's my movie review on Blade Runner 1982. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I wish everyone a good day. And take care, and I'll see you in the next review, which is gonna be soon. And now, I'm out. Peace.